You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jaclyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjaclyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
It's Friday night here on the East Coast of the United States, and wherever you are, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. We are so happy to have you here. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jaclyn, the variety show. You never know what you're going to get on this program, but today we've got something that everyone's going to love. I'm not going to disclose yet. This show is all about people sharing their talent, their expertise. We love to bring all different types of topics and people who have all different kinds of backgrounds. I am your host, your executive producer, your director, and broadcast engineer. And guess what? It's my 8th show today, and I'm still standing. I can't wait. I love this show because I get to be with my friend, Lori Mendelsohn. She's my co-host. Let's bring her out. Hello, girlfriend.
Hey, girlfriend. Jaclyn, you never know what you're going to get. I think it's time to bring up that free package of Lee Press-On nails for all of our listeners today. Right?
And the Ginsu knives, yes.
Oh, let's not forget that. How could we? Jaclyn, are you sure it's not your 24th show today?
You know what? It's my 8th show. I'm actually going for some type of record that's, and I'm standing through all the shows. And I showed this before, but I actually have a little dumbbell that I've been lifting on commercials. So, Lori, we have the most amazing guest today. His name is John Christian, and he is a legend in the entertainment industry. And not only that, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but he's transitioned into a completely different career, but still incorporating what he's learned from being an entertainer. So I'm excited to have him come on. We're going to actually interview him, and then he's going to perform live. Can you believe that?
I can't wait. I'm so excited about this guest. Yes. Thank you.
So before we bring him out, I'm going to spotlight you. Tell us all about what Lori Mendelsohn is doing.
Well, Jaclyn, after meeting our guest backstage, I am making plans to meet him in Portugal. This is a fish that I can't let swim by. So Jaclyn, what I'm doing is I'm doing my dating coaching profile rewrites for people and dating coaching. And doing a lot of shows on Clubhouse, getting some terrific guests on. And it was great to see you in one of the rooms last week. So that's what I'm up to, just chugging along here. But really so excited about interviewing John, because how often do you get to hear that someone had that great a background? And he's sitting right here in the studio. So
he's sitting here.
Get to him.
All right.
Yeah.
And John is from the UK. He started performing entertaining, I believe, at the age of 19. And he had a hit song, Summer Days. He's won all kinds of awards. Let's bring him out and talk more. Let's hear directly from him.
Yeah.
Hello, John. Welcome.
Good evening, ladies.
Hi, John.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. I know it's very late there in Portugal, so we appreciate that you're staying up to be here with us. Yes. So we were talking a little bit backstage about the fact that you're in Portugal now, but your intention was not initially to be there this long, correct?
This is correct, yes.
I think that's an interesting story.
10 days.
And what happened?
Tell us about it.
The sound is unfortunately breaking up on me.
Oh, that's too bad. We can hear you perfectly.
Okay. I can hear you better now. It's
Good.
Settled down.
Good. So tell us about your trek from December 10th until now, how that happened.
I literally came here to have a break away from the COVID situation in the UK. And as I say, I came with a backpack for 10 days, and then I couldn't get back to England. And then I got settled in and decided, you know what, it's so much freer here than the UK. The restrictions weren't anywhere near as bad. So I just decided to stay in a very safe place.
Well, it looks great on you. You look like you're really enjoying yourself there. So, and we've got a comment from Philip. Ladies, John is sizzling hot. Wow. Thanks. Thanks, Philip. Tell us something we didn't know.
Oh, Philip.
John,
he's
your
my
sunburn.
Cupid.
Your sunburn made you
Cupid.
sizzling hot.
He actually introduced us, so thank you so much.
Okay.
He did, yes, thank you, Philip.
John, on a serious note, you are known throughout the world. You've won many awards. You've performed on many stages. And I think it's brilliant that you are gracing our stage today and that you're going to sing for us. But I'd like to talk a little bit about your career. And was it 19 when you first started to perform?
Yes. Yes, it was.
And did you know then you were sizzling hot?
No, actually, I think it's a very good thing because it's kind of kept me humble. But it's very nice to hear. Thank you for the compliments.
John, where are you from in the UK?
From Hertfordshire, that's the county.
Okay.
So I was born in a town called Hitchin. I grew up in the next town called Letchworth. And now I live in a village between the two called Ickleford.
Okay. And how did you learn to be a musician? What got you started? Did you start playing when you were very young and then just work into it? A great set of circumstances lined up for you? What happened there?
I wasn't any good at anything else.
But you're sizzling hot.
Woo! Tell us more, John.
Oh my God. So basically, I'm not a musician as in instrumentally so much as a singer. So I did a one-man show for a long time as a singer, impressionist, and comedian.
And John, so you've been an entertainer for a long time, and as I mentioned, I think you've traveled the world and you've appeared on stages here in the United States and Europe, Australia, all over the place. I would love to know, what is that like? What is it like to have that kind of success and notoriety as a performer?
God, it's a double-edged sword, like everything with life. You know, it's not all glamour and beauty. It has its challenges, like everything else. So in the beginning, when I started out, it was hours on the road and living out of the suitcase and living in strange towns and countries and waiting just to do your show in the evening. So every time there was a change, you know.
And I'd love to know when you knew you made it. When was the moment that you said, wow, I am really good at this?
That's a good question, you know. It's, I think the moment I realized I put so much time and energy into this, that now I'm not in the fear and the self-conscious mode of, will I get it right? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? So it was... all those years kind of added up, and you can lay back on your talent and you can lay back on the musicians and just do your thing without the ego being in the way.
And that's the great thing about aging, isn't it? That as we get older, we just become so much more comfortable in our own skin that we can give to others and accept, and we're not criticizing each other so much anymore, you know? Yeah. I want to know about the chicks, though. I want to know about the groupies. Come on, John, you're sizzling hot.
Well, there
have to be some stories there.
There was a few, yes. So, you know, I had we all, you know, when I was a young boy and I started out for a holiday organization, I was entertainment staff before I became a staff of the same company, and it was like working in a sweet shop for relationships. Every week there was a new crowd coming in, you know, and as lads we had this saying, you know, if God invented anything better than sex, he's kept it as a secret. So we were all out trying to find out what the secret was. You know?
I love that. As I mentioned at the top of the show, you're going to be performing for us, but I want to talk about the work you're doing now. So now you are conducting workshops and trainings and even concerts to help people live a life that they love. And I'd love to hear more about that from you.
Yeah. Well, actually, I started out, it was a rocky ride for me as a child because I was very intuitive. So now in all my experience, I understand that, which I didn't then. But the yogis call it having your third eye open, or your intuitive eye. So I could actually see people's thoughts and feelings and feel them. And I could see this one intelligent energy in all living things, even the rocks and stones. So that was the real world for me. And when I was sent to school, I was so much in that world that I wasn't paying attention to slowing the process, the learning process down to read the at and one makes two. That was slow for me because it didn't have the feeling in the heart. It was rational, logical, deductive process. So after a while, I got judged a lot for that. And I remember at the age of 7, thinking, well, maybe there's something wrong with me because I'm not good at this thing. My sister was very good. She was in A classes all the way through school, and I was in the R's, which was the bottom. So I decided at the age of 7 that it was too sensitive to keep that sensitivity alive and that vision of things alive. So what I say now is it was like taking hold of a dimmer switch and turning down the sensitivity just to survive. And I've learned so much about that since, because I often work with children nowadays who are going through the same thing, even in this day and age. They feel misunderstood, unloved, judged for wrong reasons, and sadly they're building their self-image on those early years up to the age of 7. They're building their self-image then based on the most dominant information they're being given. And if that information is there's something wrong with you because you can't add up or you can't spell, they do what I did and take on that belief. Oh my God, there's something wrong with me. So that means that this is not a safe place to be. So I should always be afraid. And I don't like the feeling of criticism because it hurts me to feel that coming from people. So now I'm going to protect myself from the possibility of further criticism. So literally for 27 years, I avoided anything to do with left brain activity because I didn't want people to find out I wasn't good at spelling or maths, and I didn't want to be criticized. So it was a horrible place to live for 27 years. And now I've worked with thousands of people and children that are in that same mode, and they're trying to find how to be with themselves by changing those beliefs. So in a nutshell, what I always knew intuitively, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with any of us. The very fact that we're alive and breathing means we're already enough and intuitively intelligent. So if the mind is not full of fear and too much distraction and the emotions are calm, meditation, then we have direct access to that intuitive intelligence. And that came back to me at the age of 27 in a meditation when I reconnected with that awareness and the energy of it. And I remembered, oh my God, this is what I was like as a child. So I committed my life to that journey from that moment of soul searching, trying to understand, what are we doing to each other? How is this happening? How does consciousness function? How does it work in this body? How does every thought produce such incredible results in an electrobiochemical response, and yet we fall into those most dominant thoughts and forget who we are. So I have a training program called All the Masks We Wear, which is now all about my life's experience of how many roles I've played, as an entertainer and an actor, and how much I've learned about myself through having that opportunity. It's been phenomenal.
I think your trainings have to be incredible because you're so experienced. You bring a different perspective. You're a professional entertainer, and yet you have all this knowledge. You are sought after worldwide for your counseling. You also are intuitive, and you provide healing sessions and one-on-one coaching. And I just think that combination of having that personal awareness and connection of who you are and why you are here, and the fact that you have no fear of being on the stage and no fear of helping other people is truly, you are unique.
Thank you.
And John, you show such complete vulnerability in what you just said, which,
yes,
in a traditional male role, you don't hear that.
Yes,
I mean, that is like, okay, your hot level just went to burning.
Lori, put your arm up. We're going to have to arm wrestle for him, okay?
Wait, roll up. There you go.
So how long can we make this program?
We have another comment from Philip Chan. The work you're doing now is, yes, that is so true. And you talked about meditation, but you also lead meditation treks. Can you talk more about that?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll tell you about one specific one because it involves the importance of intuition, and that was it was on the world news, and we were at the highest point in an area called Langtang, and often I say, after many days of trekking to get there, I say to my groups, if some of you want to go higher, we will, and the rest can rest in camp. So a group of us went high, and so the tents looked about that big, and we were more than half of Everest. And I was looking back down the valley, and this ominous cloud came up through the valley. And so I said to the group, come on, we better head down. As we were going down, we were engulfed in this presence. And I can only tell you, it was truly a living presence that stopped us all dead wherever we were. Nobody said anything to anybody. We just stopped in silence. And then at a certain point, it felt right to move on. So we went down, and I got this intuitive voice feeling, don't stay another night. So I said to my Sherpas, guys, we're packing up. We're not going to stay another night. So they go, well, why, sir? What's the problem? I said, no, that's what we're going to do. Another night, gone. So we packed up, and that day as we were walking down, it rained more than it had ever rained. And we couldn't put tents up that evening. So we stayed in a lodge. And I was actually ordained as an interfaith minister. We had 2 people on the trek that asked me, would you do a ceremony for us? We'd like to get married, but we'd love an interfaith one, with the locals and everything. So we did this. So we were actually in prayer and meditation for hours. It was so beautiful. And then next morning, we headed out to the helicopter pad to fly back to Kathmandu, and all the helicopters were diverting up the valley. So I said, what's going on? And they said, you don't know? The campsite was wiped out by an avalanche.
Oh my
and 92 people were killed.
Oh my God.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God.
That's just one story.
Oh my God. The fact that you trusted your intuition is so good. John, may I ask, what did that feeling feel like? What did that cloud feel like? Was it like a warm hug around you? Was it cold? What was the feeling?
It was just this, it's almost undescribable in words because it was such a living presence.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, it triggered that response within myself. That's where the intuition comes from. Mm-hmm. It's realigning in those moments within yourself to the mind within nature, right? So it can speak to you through anything and everything. You know, our elders have known this for thousands of years. You know, nature will speak to you through anything, but you have to live correctly in order to hear.
Yeah, that makes sense. We have another comment from Philip. I wonder how ladies would love to go on one of John's retreats to learn more. Who wouldn't want to meditate with this guy and be in prayer for hours?
I don't want to meditate. I want to levitate.
Oh, you're so funny, Lori. John, I want to bring up some photographs that we have, and here they are. So let's take a look at your book cover, How to Develop Intuitive Intelligence. Tell us more about this, if you would, please.
Yeah, that contains some of my stories and some exercises for people to develop their own intuition. So we're all highly intuitive, but we've just, in the Western culture, we've not been taught to value that and bring it to the fore, like I was saying in my story. So I've spent time with indigenous people, and their intuition is right up front. I mean, they see right through you. They see your thinking like I did as a child. So there's nothing you can hide. And they can't understand why we would think the way we do and impede that from ourselves. So the book is about helping people to know what you can do. Like Rita was saying earlier, you know, the proper breathing exercises, and knowing how to still the mind. And each of us has to find our own way. But I've put some of the tried and proven practices in my online training program and in the book that really worked for me as I've learned from martial arts and training as a yoga teacher, etc., etc. So the book is a free ebook. They can get it by emailing me via the website, john@lifebalanceportal.com.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Did you say martial arts?
Yeah, I've done, I've not been a serious martial artist, but I've spent some time at different points in time. I had a Japanese master. I lived in her temple with her in Japan, and the temple keeper was a high Dan black belt karate master. We used to train together every morning, and so I got just one-on-one learning from him. It was phenomenal. And I've also done Aikido and Tang Soo Do, which is Korean martial arts. But I've not been able to keep them up consistently because of the amount of travel. But I did commit time to become a trained yoga teacher.
Any specific type of yoga that you prefer to practice?
Well, I was fortunate enough to look at the whole package. And when you understand yoga as a science of integration of mind, body, and spirit, which again in the West we tend to only think of it as an exercise and like an hour's routine, because most of the teachers will tell you they don't have time for all the rest of it, the foundations, you know. Most importantly, the meditation, the stillness, and the chanting, which I love as a singer, you know. So yeah, I like the whole package, and I would highly recommend that anybody look into yoga, because it's thousands of years old wisdom, knowledge. It's so profound, so profound.
John, have you ever worked with shaman? And if so,
yes.
when and where? Where did you come across them?
I was with a Pueblo shaman in New Mexico. This is where I got this ring.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's a story of the American Indian tradition. Okay, let's show you. I don't know if you can see it, but it's the eagle with the four corners and the wings of the Great Spirit, and it's the traditional story of the American Indians' philosophy in one ring, really, basically. So I was with beautiful painted arrow on the Pueblo reservation down in New Mexico, and I went on vision quest with him. And then I've been in the Amazon, on the side of the Amazon, with a female shaman there as well, doing ayahuasca, which is natural leaves and plants from the forest that stimulate the intuitive senses.
What an incredible life you have. It's just also it's fascinating and interesting. We've got a couple of other images.
Yeah. So this is a book that I was asked if I would contribute to, along with 11 other storytellers and writers, and it's on Amazon.
Okay.
You can buy it there.
And how about this?
This is my online training course, Skills for Life Balance.
John, can you tell us about your online training course and from A to Z? Yeah, I'd love to hear about it.
Again, basically, it's a 10-module course, and within that, I've put, concentrated, it's 1 hour session. Each session is 1 hour. So I've put the best of the things that I've been working with that improve my lifestyle along the way, that I've learned from the indigenous. I learned from my first spiritual mentor, who was American, a man called Paul Solomon, and another man called Sir George Trevelyan, who was very well known in England, and my Japanese master, Tamerson. So collectively, I've put those things together, and of course, my entertainment background in having to face my fears and how you can manage those things when they come up. You know, they never completely go away, but they're manageable, and that's the important thing. So the course is all about that condensed 10-module experience with me.
Thank you for sharing that.
Like to know? Yeah.
We have a whole list of things we want to know.
I do.
Yes, definitely. John, I know that you have worked and do work with really highly respected mentors. Can you share any information about who they are and how you've worked with them?
Well, unfortunately, they've all passed now. But you know, the great thing about each of them is they taught life skill, and they taught you to be aware of that you're much more than you think you are, just on that mental or belief level. So the important thing too is to know how to check beliefs. You know, we believe because we're told to believe something is real. But if you really look at beliefs, most of them have no real foundation on them in the light of truth. So my Japanese master was the first person in a 500-year period to be recognized as a fully awake individual. And she was like innocence on legs. And when she held my hand, it was like she'd literally just left the womb. You could see that the body never had a negative thought process, as many of us have learned, go through it. She was tiny, but as strong as the universe, literally. I mean, her favorite thing was to put her solar plexus next to mine and lift me off the ground. But she would do that with other people because she would give you the energy from her solar plexus. In the hara, it's called in martial arts, and that's known. We're in the West now. We begin to discover. We think we're just learning this, that we now have what's known as a tummy brain, and the tummy brain has more influence over the thinking, so-called intellectual process, than the thinking has over it. So it's all about feelings, really. So Tamerson was a living, breathing, feeling individual that was like me as a child. She spoke to the rocks and spoke to the trees. Everything was alive and breathing and speaking. And she was this joy. She was this child in innocence. And I learned, you know, from scripture, Jesus said, make yourself as a child. You can find that in your spiritual teachings. There's reference to you must become innocent. You must become like a virgin in energy, in consciousness, and be receptive to those higher senses that we have.
That was beautiful.
John, where did you meet all these? Amazing is just the most stupid word I can think of right now, but how did you align
life changing?
Well, you brought them into your plane. You attracted them. It was your vibration. But how did that happen?
because everything's connected. And this is what we still need to expand into, you see. On deeper levels, we know that already, but because we're so addicted to thinking our lives, not feeling, living our lives as a holistic instrument of sensitivity, we're missing so much. So when I had my awakening experience at the age of 27, which the yogis call a Kundalini experience, there's a lot we could say about that, but another show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Save that for Portugal.
What literally happens is that you got naughty girls. So what literally happens is the life force that's coiled at the base of the spine flows up through the spinal column, and it reaches the pineal gland, and then the third eye, the mind's eye, becomes fully operative for a moment. So you see what is, instead of through limited five senses that only give you limited information about yourself and life. So my Japanese master was fully aware, and her five senses were only just to function in the body and to live her life teaching other people to not fall asleep again, as she would put it. And she would say, all you have to do, all that needs to happen is open this eye, and all understanding is instant. And then all pain and all suffering and all sorrow disappears. And that's what she was like, a living example of it.
That's so, I want to say breathtaking is the word that comes to mind. Just to think about how freeing that would be, to just
that's
live
such
like
an
that.
important word. She was freedom. So I was standing in the garden with her one day. I'd gone to Japan just to reawaken because I'd had it and I lost it. I fell back asleep. And she's holding my hand. We're in the garden, and she said, "Paradise, Johnson." And I saw in my mind's eye in that moment where she was in the light, not just her body any longer, but I saw the light back in the garden, and what she was a light, entity of light. And I saw in my own mind, I saw that level of myself, and then I saw my mind come in and go, and I missed it. I missed the moment.
And would you say that's because you were just reacting? You were used to being asleep, as you said?
Yeah, I think, there's so many, it's habit. A lot of it is habit, and it's the practice. So even with my practice and having that awareness with Tamerson, in that moment, it was a very interesting experience, because I saw how the rational, logical, what they call left brain, came in and interfered with right brain intuitive. So there was an imbalance in myself in that moment, and that's what made me not be able to stand in the light totally, the light of conscious intelligence, where Tamerson was inviting me to stand.
With all the great work that you're doing, and I know that you are sought out worldwide, are you still taking on new clients?
Absolutely. I've actually been being quiet for a year, pretty much, just to travel and to catch up with friends that I trained with in America, Virginia Beach, and they live around the States. So I've been over catching up. And then I went on to Australia to catch up with friends there. So it's been a time when I've decided with COVID that I hoped I could influence as many people as possible to use that time to really be quiet, shut the world out, trust your intuition, find safe places to be, don't buy into the fear that the media's been absolutely bombarding people with. So do the practice, and then you might watch the news, but you won't buy into the story in the same way.
So smart. I love that. Take a break from the news. We don't need to hear the news all the time, I think.
Yeah, well, we know the media, so, we know the ins and outs of what goes on behind the scenes as well. So,
Definitely.
so it makes you more aware and more cautious of what you listen to, obviously. But now, knowing what I know, what's vitally important for me and anybody I work with is how that affects us and how we must be conscious enough to not allow that to happen.
John, do you feel? May I ask this question, Jaclyn, or
Sure.
are we running out of time?
I'm not going to take a break. What do you think of that? I'm giving John
I noticed.
all of our attention.
John, do you feel that this period of COVID has been a period of self-enlightenment for the majority of the universe, for us to go inward and really go deep?
I'm kind of edgy about how I should say this because of your audience, because some people are okay with this kind of thinking and others aren't. But to me, Jesus said it like this: we're co-creators with Allah, he said, which means your very breath and your very life. We put the word God to it. But everything that's happening for us is for each of us to understand the alchemy of life and how to be co-creators with life. That means with the wisdom and knowledge in every breath that speaks to us through our heart. So we all intuitively know, I shouldn't have thought like that. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. I wish I hadn't have behaved like that. So I often ask, how can we be so intelligent to know that and yet so slow to actually act on changing that and doing something about it? Mm-hmm. So it's an alchemical process that our free will personality body is in while we are learning to raise our consciousness to remember who we truly are as a breath of life, as a high intelligence within nature. And going through periods like this gives us a mirror image of how we've fallen into bad behavior and thinking and consciousness and away from the heart. So, business and everything else becomes predominantly about materialism. I've heard business people say, who cares, as long as I get the money, as long as I get my ivory tower. And it's like, yeah, but look what's happening to your heart. And with most of these guys, I'm counseling them in a cancer group.
That's profound.
Because they weren't listening.
Right.
And they say to me, so what was that all about? I was too hard, and I wish I hadn't have been that hard just for the sake of business. And I was never there for my family. And yes, true, I was hard-hearted. I wasn't listening to my own heart. And now I've got the business and I've got all the money, but I've got this, And it's like now I'm sitting here asking people like you, like, what can I do to kind of get rid of this stress and this self-judgment and relax and start healing myself because my energy is coming back to the right place.
I think, great. Yes, it's the way that you're helping the world. I mean, the fact that you have all this background in the entertainment industry, as I mentioned before, and now you've parlayed that into your intuitiveness, your ability to heal and coach and consult. It's no wonder that you're so sought after.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. And I'm ready to be more sought after again, if that gives me the opportunity.
A shameless
to
plug.
Be helpful. Yeah, I'm shameless. I'm a shameless. I like that actually. I'm a shameless. Yeah. In the sense that the time is right now. What you're doing is fantastic with this show, and it's all about education, and education is about exposure. And so I do my training programs in my small way to try and offer a forum where thinking people like us can get together and actually take a serious look at ourselves without self-criticism and self-judgment getting in the way to stop that soul searching.
That's what we need, for sure. We've got a couple of comments, by the way. Ian Pelham-Turner. Hello, Ian. John is an amazing man and brings great value to Britain and the world. Beautiful. And
Thank
Philip.
you, Ian.
And our chat with John on a one-to-one is so refreshing. And when you hear him sing live in the same room, there is something very special, ladies. So, John.
I think Philip is your pimp is what I think is going on. Because he's got everything that he says has ladies at the end.
Got everything what?
Everything that he says has ladies at the end. I think he's your pimp.
It still broke up.
He's pushing you to meet someone, I think. Right? Doesn't it seem that way?
I told you, he's my Cupid.
Yeah. John, we are so excited for you to sing. Are you ready to do that, or should we take a break?
Because it's been such a hot day, it would be okay if I could have a glass of water.
Yes, absolutely. We'll make the sponsors happy, and we'll take a
I'm
take a
driving
break.
the heat. Okay. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, great. Cool.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back. You don't want to miss this, as John Christian is going to perform live here on the Variety Show.
How long are we breaking for?
We're going to break for 2 minutes. How's that?
2 minutes.
All right, we'll go to 4. You want to go? We'll go to 4 minutes. We'll break for 4. We'll break for 4 minutes. Okay? Is that enough time?
I need a loo break.
Take that loo break. We'll be right back.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mindy Thomas, founder of Thomas Career Consulting. If you are dealing with the stress of having been terminated or being laid off, considering a career change, or you simply cannot land a job with your current resume, you came to the right place. My professional expertise centers on being trained in 2 distinct areas: career counseling and career marketing. I am also the host of Career Chat, a weekly talk show which appears on RVN TV. My end game is helping you to overcome the self-doubt, the fear, and the other barriers you are facing right now in a very tricky, perplexing, and complicated job market. .5 seconds. That's how much time it takes a recruiter to scan your resume. On top of that, electronic applicant tracking systems may reject you even if you have the skills, education, and experience. I teach you how to win when you absolutely have to. My resume writing practice is built on a personalized, collaborative, and strategic approach that showcases your accomplishments in a way to get you noticed. At the center of my strategy is identifying your strengths and targeted keywords to make you stand out from the competition. As a professional resume writer, I know what it takes to impress even the most discriminating hiring manager. Changing careers, launching a new one, overwhelmed or stuck in a dead-end job? I have more than 2 decades of experience as a Georgetown-trained leadership coach, resume writer, career counselor, and recruiter. So whether you're a student, a top executive, or simply struggling to find your own career identity and you're feeling lost, you can count on me to lead you through the journey of self-discovery. I will formulate a step-by-step plan that begins with the assessment of your skills, your interests, your values, and your personality, and then explore the opportunities that are best suited to align with you. In essence, what makes sense for you? With 25 years of business experience, I have been privileged to work with a diverse group of adults, from young high school students to the millennials, the Generation X, Y, and Z, and boomers. Let me put that to work for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jaclyn, the variety show. My co-host Lori Mendelsohn is here, and our exquisite guest, John Christian, is here also.
For the ladies.
We have been having quite a fun time with John. He has extensive experience in the entertainment industry. He's won all kinds of awards. He's traveled the world, and now he's coaching, he's mentoring, he's leading retreats. He's helping people get in touch with who they are at their core and live their best life. And in addition to all that, he's going to sing live right here today, which I can't even believe. We do have a couple comments first.
Okay, I don't know what, for any professionals out there, I don't know what this is going to sound like, because I have two little speakers with my laptop, because all my professional stuff is in England. So anyway, we'll go for it and see how it goes. But do I have a moment to read my favorite quote from Einstein? This
is your show. Whatever you want to do, please.
Wow, I've got my own show now. That's fantastic. Okay. This is about intuition, though. We were talking about intuition. So Einstein said, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant if trained. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. Albert Einstein.
Very profound.
Isn't it just?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a Garth Brooks song that I kind of picked intuitively, then discovered that you have a relationship to this song as well.
Yes, that is true.
And my mother used to love this song as well. So Rita was saying about going through her mother having dementia and all of that, and I was recently through all of that hoop as well. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope that the gods are with us with the sound system. Well, sometimes late at night, I lie awake and watch her sleeping. She's lost in peaceful dreams, so I turn out the light and lay there in the dark. Then a thought crosses my mind. If I never waken in the morning, would she ever doubt the way I feel about her in my heart? If tomorrow never comes, would she know how much I loved her? Did I try in every way to show her every day that she's my only one? And if my time on earth was through, could she live this life without me? Is the love I gave her in the past gonna be enough to last if tomorrow never comes? 'Cause I've lost loved ones in my life who never knew how much they meant to me. Now I live with the regret that my true feelings for them never were revealed. So I've made a promise to myself to say each day how much she means to me. to avoid the circumstance where there's no second chance to tell her how I feel. If tomorrow never comes, would she know how much I loved her? Did I try in every way to show her every day that she's my only one? And if my time on earth were through, could she live this life without me? Is the love I gave her in the past gonna be enough to last if tomorrow never comes? So tell that someone that you love just what you're thinking of if tomorrow never comes. That sounds like my audiences nowadays too.
You had me at hello.
Are you okay, Dr. Jaclyn?
Yes, I'm swooning over here.
I hope the sound was okay.
It was excellent. It was absolutely beautiful. How did you feel singing it?
I love it because you know the lyric any man can put his heart into. You know, and how many times, you know, have we kind of laid there by a partner with those kind of thoughts and feelings? You know, so it's a great story. It was a great song. I mean, it was wonderful for Garth Brooks, and I think it still does the thing. And for me, with singing, it's very important that I have a song that really speaks to my heart as well. So I can sing just to entertain. Anybody can do that. But to sing and bring an energy, which I hope I did, that actually touches hearts and souls and opens you up again. Great. That's what it's for. So good on Garth Brooks for this one.
Do you sing on your retreats?
I do. Yeah. I've got on my website, I've got 2 albums. Some are my songs and others are covers from friends. So I do. We sing, we chant for people that are interested, and people should really explore that. It's such a wonderful way to bring peace to the mind.
Please tell us when the next retreat is taking place.
Well, actually, I haven't set one yet because of what's been going on. But I want to run another trek to the Himalayas because sadly, I got called back 4 days into the last one because my mother was passing. So I want to complete that for that reason. And hopefully with some of the friends that were with me at that time, I had to leave on their own to carry on the trek. So, and all that was profound too, because I was standing by the Ganges, you know, we were watching the cremations going on, and I just knew, and I didn't want to know. And then the next day we're high in the mountains and I get the call, I think you better get back. So my mum had passed. I think I was in Dubai when my mum passed. And if I've got time to tell this story shortly, I went straight to the Chapel of Rest and I kissed her here and I sang a prayer called the Great Invocation. And then there's a church where they have a spiritualist church where I've been asked to sing and speak. And I went there and I went with a friend that loved Mum dearly. And I said, you come with me? I've got a really strong feeling I should go to the church. And they had a speaker that night and he walked out on the stage and he said, you, sir, I've got your mother here. So he said, she's saying, thank you for the kiss. It was so gentle. He said, you kissed her just there. And only my mother would say this, right? So I know you can't die anyway, but only my mum would say this. So, he said, she's saying, if I'd have known it was like this, I would have come ages ago because they're letting me be myself. I can still swear. That was my mum all over. She was a Londoner through and through.
Thanks for sharing that story, John. Can you tell us some of the people whom you've performed with over the years?
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, as it's been a variety because of being an impressionist and a comedian as well. So most of the people that I worked with on television were on impression shows or comedy shows, and probably in America you wouldn't know many of them. But you know, I had a time in my early days when the parents of the Bee Gees managed me, and I used to babysit Andy. I watched Andy grow up into a megastar, and I met many of them, mega rich and famous, the Osmonds, Elvis's manager, the Colonel, and name on and on and on. Through that was a life-changing experience for me, and I really, really love Barry. Barry gave me my first spiritual book, actually, and he said, I don't know where this came from, it just turned up on my bed one day, but would you like to read it? So stories like that link you in, you know, all the way. So in England, one of the most famous comedians that you may have seen in America, well, Benny Hill, you did. So
Yes.
And Norman Wisdom. I worked. Norman came on stage to surprise me one night when I was doing an impression of him, and so just beautiful moments like that with famous groups. Dozy Beaky McIntyre, Dave D got me my first recording contract. They were big and famous at the time. So, and Morris was married to Lulu, so I met Lulu and Ringo and many people like that. So, as I say, a lot of the names you possibly wouldn't know. That I still get to work with sometimes, but mostly nowadays I'm doing films. So I was in the Quartet with Dustin Hoffman. That was his first directorship, and Billy Connolly and all the crew that was in that. So that was a great job. And I've done a couple of the Bond movies, but only very small parts on those, you know, passing.
Oh my gosh, it's getting worse, Lori. I'm getting sweating over here now.
I swear, I'm feeling the vapors.
You see the sun? It's coming in on the green screen. I'm like, yes. But by the way, we do have a comment because you just mentioned this, Norman Wisdom. So Ian said that you have a story about Norman and a golf club. It's hilarious.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's when I was doing my show, and Norman used to wear this turned-up peak hat and a short jacket with the sleeves were up there. So I'd just put my things on and I'd turn to the microphone like that with his face, and the audience went, whoa! And I thought, oh my God, this is going great. I haven't said a thing yet. And I saw somebody out the corner of my eye, and it was Norman Wisdom walked on the stage. Our two managers had set me up. And he was carrying a golf club because he was, we were in Douglas on the Isle of Man, and he lived in Ramsey. So, and he came up to me, and the photographer took a picture just as we got the same look on our faces, which he signed for me. And he looked up and he said, has anybody seen my golf ball? I used it this morning in Ramsey. So, my stomach fell through my feet. And, because he was a mega film star, you know, he was one of our biggest stars. He was so lovely. He invited me for a drink after and said, you know, I was a little bit concerned about coming onto the stage with you, John. I didn't want to upstage you at all, you know. And I said, oh, no, it's all right, Norman. And he said, oh, that's really good.
You know, Lori hit on something that I think is really important. You're so humble. You're so down to earth. You have this, obviously, this very soft side to you. And it's just incredible because of everything that you've accomplished, that you've remained true to yourself.
Thank you. It's been a journey like everybody else. We all have to go through our downward spiral in order to climb out of it. You know, That's, for me now, I understand what that's all about. It's just an alchemical process of consciousness. And we have to have a dark night of the soul, every one of us at some point on the journey, just to explore what it's like to ride the arc of light or intelligence to its deepest, darkest point, where there seems to be no hope, no light, no love, and we're not breathing. And all we want to do is, like one of your other guests said, all I wanted to do was die. But I went through that as a child. I tried to bash my head open on a concrete pillar, all that kind of stuff. But when you understand the journey, when this eye opens again and you start seeing what the whole thing was about, it all makes sense, because there's always that divine plan that's holding you, that's there waiting for you to exercise your free will to turn in towards it. And that's what free will means, So my ego has the freedom to self-destruct, or it has the freedom to cry out to its own heart and say, oh my God, if there's anything more about me, or if there is a God, if there's anything out there, help. And then in that moment, as I found, the universe goes, well, I was just waiting for you to ask. Here, breathe me.
I've been here all this time and you just weren't open, right?
Absolutely so. It's, the scriptures say, the truth is simple and it will set you free. So to yourself be true. The issue is we've forgotten who is the self. And we think we're all these images and thoughts and masks. That's why I do that workshop, all the masks we wear. So I take people through a journey where we identify, we make lists and lists of what is the mask for you? The good parent, the loving parent, the needer, the server, the sacrificer, all that. So we act them all out. We do the body language and get to feel what it's like to be in that mode. And then I get them to role play the opposite. So their body feels what it's like. And that's what I've learned from acting. Take myself out of a space. The body learns, oh my God, I can shift that. Right? I just shifted. I did that. I shifted from, if I'm acting, like this really depressed person that there's no hope and no light, to suddenly, hey, do you know what? I just changed that whole process. Put it into a new perspective, and I lifted my energy. So we fake it till we make it.
I love that transformation we just saw. Lori, did you catch that?
I caught it. But will the real John Christian please show up?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, he's still trying to emerge, actually, through all of this.
Oh, such a good interview. Wow.
Incredible. Thank you, Philip Chan. We love you. Philip has a comment also. Beautifully performed, John, as always. Yes. And if it weren't for Philip, we wouldn't have connected. And if it weren't for Ian, I wouldn't have met Philip, and on and on and on. So thank you to Ian also. John, we've been streaming your contact information throughout the show, but for people on Business Talk Radio who can't see that, what's the best way to get in touch with you? And again, your website has pretty much everything they need to know, but just again, review the services that you offer.
Okay, so the email is john@lifebalanceportal.com. The website is www.lifebalanceportal.com. The services that I offer are arranged depending on the group's interests, and that's everything from corporate to universities, education, different schools, teachers, working with the kids and with the teachers, both through singing and teaching, and one-on-ones online. So I also do intuitive readings for people, intuitive life readings, or the online training program that people can engage with me for a longer period. So I'm still available to sing and record and do concerts. If anybody would like to pick me up on that, I love that creativity. So I'm happy to make space in my life to always do that. And also the acting and working through the media. And that's what I feel so blessed to take part in this with you this evening. and what we did in England with with Philip, because I think this is a landmark on a proper use of the media and education for exposure to the truth, and the proper education in self-awareness and personal responsibility. That's the biggest key. We have to learn what personal responsibility means nowadays and take it back.
Standing ovation for you, John.
Ta-da!
Let's all get up, everybody.
I am up, yes.
You know, John, I just want to say one thing. When you were saying how much you love acting, your face completely changed. Your inner child came out. You were so gleeful. It was a joy to see.
I just so love it. You know, on the picture you can see of my online course, the young girl that's standing beside me holding my hand. In 5 days, we took her from a person who all her life had been told, oh, be quiet. Oh, God, your voice is awful. Don't speak, don't sing. She was so terrified. On the 5th day of my training program, which was only 4 hours a day, she stood beside me and sang to an audience.
Wow.
And she said, it makes me want to cry. She said after, John, I have never felt so free.
So beautiful.
And that's what we can do, you see. That's when we know how to do it, when we've got the right tools and techniques in place, we can all help each other do this. And now's the time.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. And we have another comment from Philip. Wonderful show tonight. Brilliant, John, Jacalyn, and Lori. Great fun as always. Ladies, you can cool down now.
Oh, thank God.
Oh. Hey, Philip, what about me?
Oh, this has been so much fun. I hate to end it. As you see the sun, I keep moving. I'm almost against the wall now as the sun comes in. So I can sit over here.
It's been such a joy, to connect with you, and the beauty of, even with the screen between us, I can feel you, and it's so nice to have this, common denominators between us, and our skills and our lives experience that allow us to use the media in a proper format.
Yes.
In a good way. Very good.
I feel that the three of us are going to collaborate somehow.
Do you know what? My intuition is saying the same.
I'm very excited about it.
Oh.
Yeah, me too. Me too. The time's right. Absolutely right. How else are we going to turn this fear around? It's my own family back in England. They're just so afraid of everything, So, and it hurts to anybody that's, in their heart. It hurts to see, God, look what we're doing with the media to people's minds and hearts. And the worst thing of all is that much of it's being done purposely.
It does seem that way.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's criminal. That's criminal. But not to be negative about it. It's the upside is our opportunity to become self-enlightened, to educate ourselves, to find out the truth of what's really going on, not just to look to one story all the time that's 24 hours through the box, and stop doing all of that and do your meditation, do your breathing, do your practice, live your life properly, and know this, you're going to die anyway, so you might as well live the hell out of every moment.
We're going to Portugal, Lori.
Fine by me.
Let me just finish on that. I don't want to leave people thinking you're going to die, because actually I know from direct experience, dying is impossible. You try it. All you do is get out of the meat. So your soul goes with you.
Yes, very true. I think there have been so many incredible lessons that have been shared here today. And I know that folks are going to be reaching out to you. So you better get some rest now, because you are going to be booked for everything, for entertaining, for your coursework, for your retreats. And I'm very happy for you.
Ladies, I can't be more grateful to you. Thank you so much for being soul sisters, we'll say out there.
That's
Must
right.
be a song about that.
We'll see you in Portugal.
Soul sisters.
Thank you again, John, for being here. It's been a pleasure. We'll definitely stay in touch. And thank you for watching the shows, by the way. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I've not been able to catch them all, but I wanted to see, what you're doing, what's it about, who's saying what. And so I've had some glimpses there.
Well, I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm in love. So what do you do? I mean, twice in love.
Thank you, Philip.
Are we going to have a great time next time I come to America?
Yes, we are going to have the best time. We're going to have the best time. One thing I wanted to mention, I think is really important to everything that you said, John, and I try to say this as often as possible. Get out there and meet people. I mean, through the computer, we have so many opportunities to connect with people. And in addition, Clubhouse app, Lunch Club, there are all these ways that you can connect with people and make authentic relationships like we just have right now. Lori and I have never met in person, and yet I look forward to Friday nights with her. Like, she's my girlfriend and we're hanging out at a happy hour. So I think it's truly amazing.
Yeah. And I'm single, ladies.
That was the first thing I asked Philip. I said, is he in a relationship? He said, no, he's single. I was like, woo, he's hot.
I had to put that in because Laurie and I were joking in the beginning. So
yes, he's single, ladies, but step off, okay? He's step aside.
So funny.
All right, we're going to close out because now there's some alarm. Do you hear the alarm? Some fire?
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you again, John. It's been a true pleasure. And I know we will be connected again.
Om Shanti, as we say in Sanskrit.
Shanti, Shanti, peace. Yes, yeah. And peace be with you as well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, ladies.
Bye, John.
Have a lovely rest of the day.
You too.
Thanks. Good evening.
Bye-bye.
Get some rest for Portugal, Russ.
Listen, I'm buzzing now. How can I sleep when I've got you ladies in my life now?
Burn his head, too. He's thinking of
late at night.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh my gosh. There are times like this when I wish we could just broadcast forever. It's just so much fun. And, but my mom's downstairs. We're going to go to dinner. So yay. Lori, tell me, what was your favorite part of the show tonight?
It was John's vulnerability, without question. It was just, he was speaking from his heart. He was speaking from his soul. He was honest, living in his truth. That's what I loved about him. No holds barred.
And when you think about it, somebody who has accomplished so much, I've met other people and they've come on the show and it's like, well, this, come on, forget it. Here's someone who doesn't have to speak about what he's done. And he just has this, I want to say, this inner beauty that comes out, that he's authentic, he's a real person, and he cares about people.
He was terrific. Jaclyn, this was so good. And I don't know if you heard him say the dark nights of the soul, was Shasta also said. Do you remember when she said that?
Yes, I do. Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah. Two deep spirits. So we're lucky to be around them.
And I think it's amazing that we had this experience together, Lori, that this happened when we were both here together. So thank you for sharing this experience with me.
Yeah. And my last night on this show and moving into dating.
Oh, I thought you were on both shows.
Oh.
I thought you were on both shows.
Oh my God. Well, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Good. Okay.
All right. Lori, tell us how we can connect with you and the services and the value that you bring to our beautiful world.
Well, Jaclyn, after John, I really feel like I may as well just say, have a good weekend, everybody. But no, I am an intuitive matchmaker, dating coach, and profile app writer. And you can find me at smartfunnysingle.com. Also on Clubhouse, there is a new club that I just formed called The Single Connection. And all of our shows will be through that room, the single connection. So check it out. We have a great lineup coming in the next week. So hope everyone will be able to join. And thank you for those who have and who listen and who participate. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. And
Thank you.
I hope you're going to be here next week for the variety show. So we'll discuss the art of texting. See how texting isn't always the best.
Oh yeah. I'll be here. Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much, my dear. Hope you have a wonderful and blessed weekend. Enjoy yourself.
Okay. Have fun with Mom. Good night.
All right. I'll see you
Bye,
on Sunday
everyone.
on Clubhouse.
Okay, you will. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. What a day it's been. I am just buzzing. I'm so happy that we had this incredible show. Lori is a sweetheart. She's like my soul sister. And John, just as we said before, this man is true and real, and he gets it. And he's just filled with so much integrity and so talented and handsome. Yes. So I thank him for being here. And again, I thank Philip and I thank Ian, because this is what it's about. It's about making connections that are authentic. And then people let you in their network, and your network grows and grows and grows. And if you all have a common shared belief, which we do here, our belief is to give people a platform to speak and share their truth. And thank you for going on this journey with us. I have to say personally that I am just ecstatic. I did 8 shows today and I'm still standing. So I do have to announce that my ankles are a little swollen. And as you know, I love bloopers. The green screen is falling apart because of the sun, but I don't really care. I just want to thank each and every one of you who watch our shows, who support us, my presenters, my team of charter presenters on A Better You. I love you guys. You're killing it on our shows, 4 shows a week, presenting your knowledge and your expertise. By the way, we are planning our in-person events. I don't talk about this enough, but we have an event coming up, Journey to a Better You. This is an event that's going to be the 2nd or 3rd week of October. It is either going to be in Orlando or in Nashville here in the States. We already went out to RFP, and I'm waiting for my consultant to get back to me and let me know what those responses were to the RFP. But we're expecting, I'm putting it out to the universe, John helped me, 10,000 people to attend. Coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors, and people from human resources, people who need a coach or a trusted advisor. We're going to have keynote speakers. Maybe John will join us, just saying. So there's lots of opportunity to grow and partner with us and to share your story. I hope you'll come back. We have our shows Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday every week. My last announcement is my book is launching on Sunday. You can pre-order it. Let me find the book cover. So the book is called Behind the Green Screen, How to Succeed in the Live Broadcasting Business. It's a how-to book. And I have to have a disclaimer from my guest earlier today. It's my journey. It's how I did it. That doesn't mean that you'll do it the same way, but I give you tips and tricks to start a live broadcasting business. This is not a podcast. It's live, right? You see what's going on here. It's live. There's no editing, no take 2. And also my personal stories of how and why I left the corporate world. So it's a very transparent share. There's no names listed in there, of course, but I hope that you'll pre-order. We're selling the book starting June 17th. That's when it'll be shipped. It's $19.99, but if you pre-order, it's $9.99. So you'll be able to go to Amazon on Sunday. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing all that you do every week. I love you all. I appreciate you. Thanks again. Have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. If you missed any of our shows, you can go over to YouTube, Dr. Jaclyn LLC, and you can watch our programming there. Thank you. Take care.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Homes for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.